Marshmallow is a Q&A site where viewers can send in anonymous messages to the streamer to ask for things like advice. And in this episode of Marshmallow Mondays, I'll be answering some really interesting questions such as my experiences with getting doxed, why it's important to be a good yapper, and the most effective way to grow as a VTuber and streamer. That last one has some advice that I've not really seen anyone talk about. Here are the timestamps if you want to skip on ahead to specific topics, and enjoy. And let's get started with the first question. I am interested in pursuing both VTubing and game development simultaneously. However, I have some concerns about the potential lack of engagement in game development streams. Are there strategies to make these streams more entertaining, or would it be more effective to create development logs instead? So, in my opinion, why not both? I think like both have their own benefits. If you make devlogs, especially in really interesting ways, maybe you can craft them into a YouTube video, or maybe you can just make really interesting Twitter posts about it, then people will become curious about it, and some of them might even come to watch your stream. It's kind of like how you grow and you like put out content as a VTuber or like as a content creator. You know, if you stream and only stream, you won't really get far because the only times you're discoverable is when you're live on the platform, like Twitch. So when you're not live, you can post devlogs to get people to be interested in what you're doing, so they'll tune into your stream like, ooh, what are they making, what are they coding, what are they making for this game, like what's this game about? That's gonna be really interesting. And when you are streaming, definitely interact with your viewers. That's a really important part. Just because you're making a game doesn't mean that you shouldn't interact or like have viewer engagement, because it is still a stream at the end of the day. And if you can't entertain like you would a normal stream, then you might want to reconsider even streaming your devlogs in the first place, or streaming like your development process, because especially when you're unknown or starting out, nobody really like knows what's happening or really cares. So you have to make it entertaining. You gotta engage with your viewers, and if you gotta lock in, that's totally fine. You know, as devs, I totally understand. Being a dev myself, you need to concentrate sometimes. You need to get into that flow, but there needs to be pockets where you have viewer engagement, viewer entertainment, just to kind of keep people there, you know. Otherwise, no one will click into a stream where it's silent of someone doing a bit of code, someone doing a bit of level design, and stay unless something really epic is happening on screen. But I guarantee you, the vast majority of people, when they click into a stream of someone just doing code silently, no one's gonna stay. Maybe one or two who are like also coders themselves that are like interested in what you're doing, but most people are likely not. I did a game development stream a couple of years ago. In there, I was able to still engage with people, and it became a really fun stream because I was coming up with characters and how to write the story and the overarching narrative. And instead of just going in, like locking in on my own, I asked people in chat, I was like, what do you guys think about this character? Like, oh, what if this character can do this to that character, and that'll make a really cool like plot twist towards the end. And you know, and it made people engage because they were also part of that story, like they were also making that story, and everyone pitched in, and it became this whole thing. And I feel like when you include people like that, then it makes it really fun and interesting. Actually, another good one if you're doing a game dev stream is to give them a bit of taste, a bit of teaser, because if no one knows what's going on, no one is likely to stay. So when you're posting those devlogs, when you're doing like streams, maybe you have a chat command that leads to a teaser video of what you're talking about, or even to like one of your shorter devlogs, just to give people some kind of context to what you're doing, right? I think context is very important. It's like, have you guys ever watched a video and then you get confused about what the video is about because it's no context, and you just click away because you're like, I don't understand anything? Because I feel like videos that are too complex or like have no context, or people you don't really understand what's happening, is very hard to get into, you know? Next question. We have those colleagues who found out you're a VTuber. How do they take it? Do they watch your content? Oh man. So this one is interesting because the answer is probably not what you expect. There's a couple colleagues that found out I'm a VTuber. One of them found out because I sent them a video on TikTok, and I didn't disable a setting on TikTok that would share who that video came from. So like if I shared something to you on TikTok and I kept my settings on default, then it would show that I sent that video and then link that to my account so that they could see where it came from. They came onto my page and they were like, wait a second, I recognize this person. Like, I recognize this voice. Is that who I think it is? And so, yeah, I just told them, like, yeah, be quiet. Like, yeah, that's me. Just don't tell anyone. And then there was another person. Oh, this is so funny because this other person found me through a YouTube recommendation. It was my Live 2D video, how to make, so I learned Live 2D in 7 days. Goodness gracious, that took me forever. But they found me because YouTube recommended them that video. And at first they were like, wait, that hat, I see this guy wearing that hat all the time. Is he just a really big fan? And then he listened to my voice and then he was like, wait, I recognize that voice. Is that? And then they messaged me in the work chat in Slack and was just like, is this you? And then linked my freaking video to me. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that's me. Can you keep it quiet? Thanks. And they were like, oh, yeah, no problem. They were actually really supportive about it. They were like, yeah, dude, that's great content. Yeah, keep it up, man. That's really good. It's really entertaining. I'm learning so much about, you know, Live 2D. Even though he's not a VTuber, he's just really curious about that side of things. But he was like, yeah, no, it's a really good video. Keep going on. Like he was really supportive about it. Neither of them have brought it up ever since. I think they're really respectful, which I'm thankful for. They're like really chill people. So when they found out, they were like, oh yeah, that's cool. All right, moving on. Yeah, it was a bit awkward, but thankfully, you know, no malicious intent whatsoever. Next question asks, what is the most efficient and effective way to grow as a VTuber? I will say this and I will keep saying this to the end of time. The best way to become a VTuber, content creator, anything similar is to stop streaming on Twitch alone. You have to put content out to other places, and I'm sure you've heard this advice from other content creators in the same type of space that are giving advice as well. Because it's true. It's really true. The only way you're growing on Twitch, if you only do stream, is when you're live. So when you're not live, no one knows who you are. No one is clicking on your videos. Your discoverability hits a complete zero, especially if you're not known. You know, nobody's gonna be out here clipping you, unfortunately, because they're out clipping the big guys, the big VTubers. So you gotta do that yourself. Think of it this way. How did you find out about VTubers? Chances are you found them through clips. That's how I found them. So when you go out there and try to grow as a VTuber, try mimic that kind of behavior, right? Go and make clips for your own channel and then put them out like it was a clipper clipping you. Does that make sense? So you get more discoverability, and you can take it a step further and, you know, make an actual YouTube channel centered around a certain niche or topic. Like for me, it's helping people get into VTubing because I like VTubing and I want to get people into VTubing. People will watch your videos, and if they're curious enough, they'll be like, oh, what's this guy actually stream? And they'll hop onto your streams. And here's the one thing actually, here's the other thing that's like a missing piece of the puzzle. If you want to grow as a VTuber streaming, that's unfortunately not enough. If you want to grow as a VTuber making YouTube content, and mostly YouTube content, that's fine. I mean, just look at my channel. I somehow made it up to like 20,000 subs and more than 1 million views or something. Just by putting out content. And that works. But for streaming, so you have uploading content to outside of Twitch, to outside of your streaming, so you become more discoverable. Now, the other half of that, it's going live frequently. Unfortunately, this is where I personally take a dip, because I work a 9 to 5 and I keep putting out content because I want to do YouTube more than I want to stream. And don't get me wrong, I love streaming, but I love making videos. If you put out content like outside of Twitch and you join that with streaming for at least, and I hate to say this because I know not many people can get this amount of time, but at least 3 days a week for about 3 hours or so, give or take, then that's when you can see consistent growth. Because if you only put out YouTube content, you'll grow your YouTube, but you won't bring people into stream. Because what tends to happen is that when you put out YouTube content and then people are curious to check out your to check out your stream, and then they see that you're not live, And when you're not live, you're not giving them a reason to come back and watch your stream, even though they were brought there from your channel, even though they were brought there from your TikToks or other kind of content outside of Twitch. So the strat is to have enough days in the week where you are streaming so that people that come in from your outside content actually get a chance to see you stream and see you live. And then when they get to see you live, then that's when they really stick around to, you know, watch you for the long run, right? Because there's no use in putting out content in hopes of getting people in and then you're not streaming, because then you've basically just lost a potential viewer at that point. Unless they are really persistent, it's gonna be hard if you're streaming just 1 day a week. Just take it from me as someone who is currently doing that, and I really wish that I could stream for at least 3 days a week, like I used to. I used to stream for that time. I used to get consistent growth during that time. But now it's like, it's kind of stagnating because I don't stream enough. But that's fine. Do what you think is better for you and what you want to do. Like, don't force yourself into any of these situations. Find a way to kind of balance out your work, if you have that, with the time that you have to stream and for the time you have content. It's difficult because you're juggling so much and you're like, I wish there was more time in the day, because I certainly was that. I feel like you have to really ask yourself, what do I want out of this? Do I want to grow for streaming? Then you got to focus on streaming more. Do you want to grow on YouTube, or do I want to keep making YouTube content? Then you have to stream a bit less to grow on YouTube. It's kind of like this balancing act. And unfortunately, unless you have the time to spare, then you kind of have to pick and choose, right? That's just like, unfortunately, the harsh truth of it all. Here's something that you can do. If you really want to focus on growing as a VTuber and streaming, and that's like the main thing that you want to do, which I think is what most people are going for anyway, put out short form content. Focus on TikTok, focus on YouTube Shorts. I would stray away from long form content unless you have the time for it, and unless you have the energy and dedication for it. Because short form content is a lot easier to put out, and you can put out a much more bigger volume than you can for, you know, long form content. And so you're still putting out videos when you're not live, but in contrast to that, you have to go live multiple times a day. You really have to. You really have to. Oh, sorry, not multiple times a day, multiple times a week. If you want to grow as a streamer. There's really no way around it, unfortunately. Over time, maybe in the course of a couple of months or so, you will start seeing steady growth. And one last thing I want to reiterate before I move on from this question, you really have to ask yourself, what do I want to get out of VTubing? Do I want to be a VTuber and focus on getting big on streaming? Or do I want to focus on making VTuber related content or something similar on YouTube? You know, just ask yourself, what do I want to get out of it? Because when you find that answer, then you get to figure out how you want to go about it. You know, finding that answer is like kind of the hard part. Figuring out how to do it, I mean, I just told you. So there you go. There you go. All right. Next question. Hey there, I'm a shy wannabe VTuber, and I ask, if you want to stream a game, what's your opinion on playing what's trendy at the moment versus playing a game that you may like, but the game is either unknown or has lost its hype? Thanks for your time. To lay out a blank slate, my opinion is always play whatever game that you want to play, because how you go about playing a game is more important than the game itself. And what I mean by that is, if people watching you notice that you're not having fun playing the game and you're kind of like, I'm playing it like it's for the hype, it's for the views, but I'm not really feeling it, then they can feel that. They know how that feels, and people don't want to watch someone who's just kind of in it for the trend, or who's not really into the game, you know, because people want to watch something that they enjoy as well, and they want to watch people enjoy what they enjoy. But in contrast to that, playing trendy games has more potential for viewers, but you also have more potential of being drowned out by the viewers. Sorry, I meant you're being drowned out by other streams. And when you're playing an unknown game, there's more potential to be seen, but you have less potential for viewers. Let me show you what I mean real quick. So I'm gonna pull up Twitch. Okay, so this is what I mean, right? Front page of Twitch. Let's go to a popular game. Let's go to, I don't know, let's go to Minecraft. Minecraft is fairly popular. This is like an always trending game. You're always gonna get like some viewers. Actually, wait, let's find something that's in the moment. Clear obscure. Let's find this. So you can see here 26,000 viewers, right? And then if you just scroll, look at the viewers so you're sorting from high to low automatically. And if you look, there is 2.8k viewers here, right? But if you keep going down, see how long it takes me to get down to like single digits. Like it just keeps going. If you're starting out, you might have like 1 or 2 or 3 viewers. What's happening here is that when you are a smaller streamer and you want to stream a trending game, people will have to scroll all this way, right? From up here, people will click on the topic. They will scroll all this way down, all this way, to even have a chance of finding you, right? And you have so many options of streams here. Why click on the person who has 2 viewers when you can just click on like one of these people up here, right? So that's the reasoning behind potentially straying away from trending games if you're just in it for the trend, because people will likely click on the people who have higher viewer counts. Now, on the contrary, if you go on something like VTubechat, for example, 121 viewers, it's not unknown because there is a community for it. I mean, you've seen. Look how much easier it is to find people. Look, top viewer, 25 viewers. Or sorry, top streamer, 25 viewers. It barely takes a scroll to get down to the 1 viewers. You see what I mean here? So it barely takes a scroll. That means that it's a lot easier to find you. It's a lot easier. And because it's a lot easier to find you, people are more likely to click on you. Especially when you're a VTuber. This is the advantage that VTubers have over normal streamers. Normal flesh tubers. They are attracted to your model. They see your model, and if they think it's interesting, they'll click on it. That's how I usually go about like looking for streamers to watch or like looking for streamers to raid. If I click on their thing, it's because I was intrigued by their model. Again, let's go to Fortnite. Another example, huge trending game that everyone plays all the time. 90,000 viewers, huge potential for viewership. But look what happens. 9,000 viewers up here. Boom. Still 3 digits. Still 3 digits. You're gonna be scrolling for an eternity to find single digits. What you need to start off with is a small but tight-knit community. Yeah, I would agree. Because if you have that, then you kind of have a foundation to work with. When you become a bigger VTuber, where you are able to go into something like Elden Ring, for example, still a popular game, but if you get like 100 viewers, right? If you average 100 viewers for something like Elden Ring, boom, you're already on the front page, basically the front page. It'll take no time at all for people to find you. So when you're starting out, first of all, find something that you want to play. You're gonna love it, your viewers are gonna love it too. And then from there, you can build like a tight-knit community around it. Don't go for Fortnite. If you want to grow, being a Fortnite only streamer is not a good idea. Let's be honest. It's not a good idea. Go for something a bit more niche that has less people streaming it, but like a decent viewer count. Because at least then you'll be more likely to be found. Also, I think you mentioned the Z, but always keep talking. If you don't have a super active chat, you might not see when you get a new viewer. So always act like you have 10 of them and keep talking about what's happening. Yeah, exactly. So there's a thing in Twitch actually that I'm surprised not a lot of people are aware about, but everyone should kind of be aware about. When a new viewer comes into your chat, Twitch doesn't actually update that viewer count for a while. So when you look at your viewer count and it's sitting at 0, depressing, I know. I feel you. I've been there. Everyone who's ever streamed has been there. But if it's sitting at 0 and you're not saying anything and you're waiting for that counter to go up so that you can start talking to chat because you know that you have a potential viewer, it's not gonna work because for all you know, because of the delay, someone has already gone into your stream, looked at your content for a few seconds, saw that you were quiet and not doing anything or not saying anything, and left. And that viewer count is still at 0 because Twitch didn't update it. It may tick up to 1 for a second and then tick back down because it noticed that a viewer was there and then a viewer is no longer there. Pretend like there are people already in chat, there are people already watching. Pretend like you're talking to hundreds, fucking even thousands of people, sure. When you've made it big, right? When you've made it absolutely huge, your Twitch chat is gonna go 1,000,000 miles a minute. Have you ever seen those HoloLive streams on YouTube where they garner like tens of thousands of people? And then that chat goes absolutely mental, light speed. How are you gonna look at chat and read individual messages when it's going that fast? You don't. it's funny because when you get to such a height, it's kind of like you're starting over from talking to no one because you can't talk to anyone because you can't read it. So it's like you're talking to no one when you're starting with 0 viewers. You know what I mean? The biggest advice I would give is to just keep talking, always keep talking. Yap. This is when you narrate everything in your mind. You narrate everything in the game. Just keep yapping. Keep yapping. That is the name of the streaming game. Yap, yap, and more yapping. But at least try to also make it meaningful yapping. So people are engaged and interested. Also, according to what I heard on the Trash Taste podcast, it's much harder to stream story games as people usually join in and don't know what the fuck's going on. That is true. But I think it depends on the story game. Like if you're playing a popular game that people know, then chances are they've already kind of completed it or gone through it. So they want to see your reaction to what they just went through. A thing that I struggle onto a plan is what I do to do content in English, as this is the language I consume the most, and then also I use English every day working in a call center. However, I know VTubing is really rare in Romania, Romanian language, and I feel like there will be a lot of people enjoying this type of content. Should I dedicate like at least one stream video for Romanian content, or should I just do English? So this is an interesting advice, but it might work. So you can do mostly English, and just like every now and again, sprinkle in a bit of Romanian. You know, to show people, oh, hang on, wait, you're Romanian? Wait, ooh, this has gotten a little bit more intriguing now. I see this with people who are totally fluent in English, and then suddenly they come out with a freaking Russian, or they come out with the Japanese or the freaking Filipino, and I'm like, whoa, wait, hang on, rewind that. I didn't know that you were, you know, bilingual, or I didn't know that you came from another country that wasn't America. Hang on, that's interesting. Stream mostly in English and sprinkle it around, sprinkle a little bit of Romanian, you know? Maybe when you get a reason to, don't just like say it out of the blue. Or maybe fuck it, even, how about like you you just like curse in Romanian or something, I don't know. That maybe not the best advice. People get really curious when they see something that they don't expect. It's the unexpectedness that piques your interest. Exactly. That's it, Nano. That's it. Oh shit, I forgot to say, we're saying goodbye to YouTube. Everyone spam buy YouTube or something. I don't know. But do it. See you later. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.